All right. A lady from this happened in America, right? So a lady in America, she calls up a rabbi, Rabbi Nimni. His name is Rabbi Nimni. And she says, well, she calls this Rabbi Nimni in Israel. Israel. I hope I get the story right. And she says, Rabbi, I want you to help me. So the rabbi said, who is this? She says her name. He doesn't know who she is. I'm calling from America. She said, I got your name from somebody. I knew you in the past, whatever. And I want you to help me. My son is living with a non-Jewish woman, or he married a non-Jewish woman. And I don't know what to do. I want him to leave this lady. And there's nothing that I can do to help. So the rabbi said, well, what can I do? You know, I'm over here in Israel. I have no connection. He said, but I heard you have a brother that lives in the area where my son lives with his girlfriend. And that maybe he can help. Maybe you can have some. So he said, I don't know, what's the son with this? How can I possibly help? How can I? So that part of the story is a little bit in doubt. I don't, in any case, somehow or other, you're the one that can help. I got your name. You're the one that can help. Okay, what is your son's address? What's his phone number? What's this? Call him up and try. Please, Rabbi, I'll do anything. Please help me. So he said, okay, I'll do what I can. So he calls up the number, and a young man answers the phone. And he says, hello, I am Rabbi Nimni, and I would like to talk to you. He said, okay, Rabbi. He said, my mother probably called you up, right? He said, yeah. He said, okay, listen, I'm willing to talk to you. I'm willing to talk to you. This, if I'm not mistaken, the woman called up this Rabbi Nimni in Israel, and he called up his brother that lives not far away from these people. But so he calls up, he says, I'm willing to talk to you, Rabbi, but not about my girlfriend. Don't mention. The fact is, Judaism is an interesting subject, an interesting topic. And and you're a human being, I'm a human being, and I'm willing to talk, but not about that. We can talk about the weather, we can talk about whatever you want to. You can call me up every day if you want to. Whenever I have time, we'll talk. So that's what he did. He called up every day, every other day, and they would talk. They would talk about the weather, they would talk about this, they would have a 5-minute conversation. So meanwhile, it was going nowhere. The whole thing was going nowhere. So he wrote a letter to the Lubavitcher Rebbe. This, of course, story happened like 40 years ago. Wrote a letter to the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And the Lubavitcher Rebbe wrote back to him. He told him the whole story. There's a Jewish boy, and he's living with this non-Jewish girl, and they're considering getting married. And the Jewish boy's mother is very worried. And I've been talking to him for a while, but seemingly making no progress. What can I do? So the Rebbe said, suggest to him that he put a mezuzah on the door. And so he said, listen, he put a mezuzah on the door. So that was the answer. He received a letter from the Rebbe. He wrote to the Rebbe, got a letter. Got an answer from the Rebbe. So he said to himself, listen, I can't do that, because anytime I even begin to talk about anything about Jewish, about the holidays, anything, as he says, Rabbi, if you start talking about, if you're going to get around to the topic of my girlfriend, I'm closing the phone, right? And so no. So he would, gingerly, approach the idea of Shabbat and the holidays, and talk about maybe a commandment here, a commandment there, a little bit, but nothing as far as action goes. Anyway, so we got a letter back from the Rebbe that he should ask him to put a mezuzah on the door. So he was a bit afraid, because he figured that might be the end of the whole, he said, Rabbi, don't call me back anymore. But I'll try. So the next time they talked, he said, there's a lot of commandments that are going to be very interesting. He says, listen, have you ever considered putting a mezuzah on your door? Maybe he waited for him to say, things have been breaking around in the house or something like that. So, well, if you put a mezuzah on your door, sometimes it makes things better in the house. It makes a blessing. Surprisingly, the young man said, okay, but where am I going to get a mezuzah from? So the rabbi said, oh, no problem. I have mezuzahs. I'll bring them over to your house. And so, in fact, he didn't have any mezuzahs, but he went to the local, whatever it is, mezuzah place, and he bought 5 mezuzahs. He came over to his house, and he let him put mezuzahs on the doors. He put mezuzahs on the doors. So he put a mezuzah on the front door and a couple of other doors where it was, the kitchen, wherever. And he put, okay, and that was it. Put a mezuzah up, and he said, now maybe the house will be calmer, there'll be more. So meanwhile, he's calling this young man up, and he's talking to him, not mentioning anything about anything. They're talking about the weather, about the baseball game, about whatever it is. And the young man says, the rabbi says to the young man, you sound a little bit agitated today. Are you okay? He said, yeah, I'm all right. We said, we had a little argument, me and my girlfriend. We had an argument. We never had an argument until today. We had an argument about something. I don't know, about something. I don't know. I spilled water, so she got all angry. And the next day he called, he said, my girlfriend is really just, really acting agitated, and she wants me to take down the mezuzah. She doesn't like it there. So I said to her, what's the problem? It brings good luck. It's a good thing. And she said she wanted, and all of a sudden she started saying things about the Jews. You want to make me into a Jew also. I'll also be a thief. I'll be a liar. I said, I can't understand what happened, So the next day he called up the number. No one answered. The day after that, the rabbi got a call. He said, hello, this is the young man you're talking to every day, George, or whatever his name is. I'm calling from a different number. I moved out. She started screaming at me and yelling at me, and she pulled the mezuzahs off the door, and she started stepping on them and screaming. I don't want someone like that. I want someone like that. So we realized that the advice that the Rebbe gave was exactly the proper advice, that the mezuzah protects. So it protected him from getting himself into a really, want to call it a bad marriage. And it strengthened his Jewish identity. Suddenly he saw that the mezuzah has an effect. You want to call it a psychological effect? Could be, but what's kept Jews putting mezuzahs on their doors for 3,300 years, it's very doubtful if it's a psychological thing that happens. It must maybe something a little bit deeper than that. And that's the essence of what a Jew is that there is God, and that God wants the world to be a good place, and that the world will be a good place if everything goes according to the way the Creator wants it to be. And as we just finished learning in the Devar Malchut, that there happens bad things, and there's a lot of bad things that are happening, is that's just to increase our awareness that God is not like us, and that God's goodness that he gives to us is sometimes so intense and powerful that there's no way we can accept it or explain it or appreciate it or internalize it in any possible way. But in the future, Mashiach will come and it'll explain all the difficult things that are in the world. Meanwhile, we have Mezuzah to shine a little bit of that goodness into our life day to day. Have a good day with Mashiach now. See you all tomorrow at 8:15. God bless you all. Hopefully the Beis HaMikdash will come down from heaven, and the whole entire world, even CNN will put it on the news, and the whole entire business will change. And when they're worried about who's going to be the president of the United States, it'll be the creator of the universe himself. Have a good day with Mashiach now. See you all tomorrow, God willing. Shalom.
Amen. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.